Welcome, everybody, to this very special episode of Boundary Breakers, where we're going to discuss a very important and impactful topic today. We are joined by an artist, poet, survivor, the amazing Kim Brake. And in this episode, we are going to talk a little bit about healing and self-discovery, revealing how dark feminine offers a path to transformation, authenticity, and creative empowerment. So, through different mediums such as art, poetry, and different aspects of living as a human, Kim reclaims this sort of feminine energy, and she's able to incorporate into many different aspects of her everyday life. So why don't we take a deeper look into who we have with us? Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is snowy outside. We're in the very
Oh,
festive vibes. It's a time definitely to be driving slowly for me. But how are you doing? What's going on in your life today?
I'm doing really well. I got outside for a walk. It's really dreary here today. It's cold and wet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still nice. It's good to get outside.
I mean, we have to have those, more gross days to be able to appreciate the good days, right?
Yeah, the weather here in Vancouver is just awful, so you got to
Oh
get used to the
yeah,
winters.
yeah, yeah. You gotta appreciate them when they come by, no
Yes,
matter
yes.
no matter how far and in between they are. So I gave a little bit of an intro to kind of just the aura of what you're currently doing and what your life has been like. So why don't you give the audience a little bit of a deeper look?
For sure. And you've mentioned breast cancer on your site, and that's part of my journey. That's part of the many pieces that kind of led me to where I am now in my healing. I went through cancer, and I've had lots of cumulative stress over the years, living in a hyper vigilant state. Um, and everything kind of just came crashing down during COVID, actually, because I was doing reconstructive surgery at the time. And it was really difficult because I was having to go into the hospital by myself. I had some really great women in my life that were helping me out with driving me back and forth and whatnot. Um, but I had an incident that happened with uh, difficulties with the expander that I had in.
Mm-hmm.
I was still working at the time at a very stressful job. And yeah, my world just came crashing down. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I found that healing through the arts has taken me on such an amazing journey. And being in nature as well, connecting with nature. There's so much I could share. I don't know how much you want to hear, but I was just very fortunate that uh, when I was in that dark place, that I had people that were reaching out to me. I had a girlfriend that would phone me every day to be like, okay, get outside, right? And that's how it all began. I made sure that every day I got outside for, even if just to walk in my neighborhood, just to take pictures of something pretty. I thought, okay, I've got my phone here. These things are beautiful. I'll start taking pictures of flowers. And I really noticed that I started to really tune into the beautiful details of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my world got very small and very quiet. But when I was outside connecting with nature, I just really felt a sense of peace. I felt more connected outside than I was inside. So I would always make sure to get out as much as I could. And there was a little bench up at the street that I could sit down, just look at the clouds or whatnot. And I'd seen something on CBC about haikus, and I thought, hey, this is really cool. And I had actually tried writing a few haiku, and I really, really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started pairing my images with haiku and got connected on Instagram. And just it was, one step after another of feeling I had a purpose, feeling connected, uh, listening to my own inner voice and realizing that haiku was allowing me to connect with myself. Um, And then I had a friend, actually. I met her on Hello Coop, which is an awesome site for writing haiku. They do like
Mm-hmm.
daily prompts and
Little
whatnot.
play on words there. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I met a lot of great people through there. And she actually connected with me and said, you've got some really great haiku, you've got beautiful photography. I would really love to publish your work. And so Alta Hafner, she led me through the whole process of, how to create a book on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I had my first book published, this journey of mine. Um, and I don't know if you can see, you can find my books on Amazon.
Yeah. Some great images, some poetry. There's definitely some haikus in there too.
Yeah. And it was really awesome to see how other people were relating to my work as well.
Mm.
Um, and that, we're not alone in this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was a really, really dark time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like not having any energy at all, like even just my walking, like when you're heavy in depression, it feels like you have lead boots on. Like everything was just a struggle. Um, and yeah, this was something that just actually got me excited. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, every day I'm going to do this. And it's just amazing to see how it's just continuing to grow. After she showed me how to publish a book, I made so many connections that I actually went on to do a second one, which was an anthology with a bunch of amazing female writers. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just this real, a sense of seaside sisterhood. This was a local beach that I had gone to as well during my healing journey. I just kind of really enjoyed sitting by the beach, making a
Mm-hmm.
cup of tea, right? And yeah, it was amazing to do this.
Yeah, these books are so well done, and the pages, like they have, I like the colors, I like how crisp they are, and I think that you were able to capture some of these reoccurring foundations and factors that are so pivotal to the messaging that you're reaching. So we have the nature piece, we have that relatability, that connection, that womanhood. I think these are some bases for exactly what this, your art and everything that you were, putting your energy into is clearly shown in that. So, would you mind elaborating a little bit about how these sorts of factors are linked together and why you think it's important to bring them into life through art?
Mm-hmm. Art has always been a part of me, and that's a part about being authentic and true to ourselves. When I was little, I always was drawing,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it so much. And when I was planning on going to university, I wanted to do fine arts actually, and kind of got talked out of it because everyone's like, "Oh,
Oh, what a waste of a degree. Yes, we know
yes,
the classics. Mm-hmm.
yes."
Mm-hmm.
So I went down a completely different path, and it was good for me too, but
Mm-hmm.
it was very hard. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of went against, a lot of times, going against the grain of who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I made some real impact with the work I was doing as well. It served me well,
Mm-hmm.
but I always felt that calling
Yeah.
to, create, and never felt like I had the ability to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
being a single mom, working a very high stressful job, all of it, I just felt like I was constantly in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was really difficult to tap into that when you're in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had something traumatic happen. I won't get into the details, but I had something traumatic happen to me. And I actually had to step away from work for
Mm-hmm.
a while. So I took a leave of absence, and I felt that calling again
Mm-hmm.
to do some art, but I was doing it more from a, how do I make money at this and how
Yeah.
do I survive? And trying to do murals and whatnot, but it was always for someone else. And so I was, I had these big plans. I'll start doing murals for doctors' offices and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that was still a struggle too, because I was not well at the time, right? I had complete burnout, and I really needed that break. And it was shortly after that that I found out that I had breast cancer. And I kind of felt like it wasn't even a surprise to me at the time. It was like, there's only so much that your body can take of just being in high stress all the time, right? And I had to deal with that. And I'll share a little bit about that particular journey, because I think it's so important to listening to our intuition, like really tapping into what our bodies are trying to tell us. Because at the time, I was told, well, you have cancer, you should do a lumpectomy, I'm trying to say right, take the piece out and have radiation treatment. And something just kept nagging at me I was just like, no, just take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just take the whole thing. And I was told that I was like, I don't know, going extreme, overreacting. Yeah. But I felt like at the time I was really in tune with what I needed to do as a single mom with little kids. Like, I had to look after things. I didn't want to be unwell. But I had a lot of clarity as well. I was like, no, this just needs to be done. And I was told, you're overreacting. How about you go get a second opinion? So I did that. I went to another hospital, got another opinion. And again, I was told, you are going extreme. You're overreacting. This is a simple procedure. We'll deal with it. You'll do the radiation. You're all good. And I was like, nope, just
remove.
I'm very clear about this. Yeah. And then afterwards, when they did the, they I'm looking for the word of it now. When they check to see how much cancer is there, and I went back for my follow up. The oncologist gave me a high five, and the surgeon was like, "Good call on that," because I was full of cancer, and what would have happened is they would have kept taking piece after piece after piece, and it would have delayed the radiation treatment. It may have spread. And it was such a relief to me at that time that, oh, thank God I listened. I went within and just was really clear on that. And I kind of went through a spiritual awakening at that time too. Like, everything kind of exploded, but I was still living the same lifestyle. And so things didn't really change. They changed for a little bit, and then it went right back to, right? And so the cancer came back, 7 years later. I'm dealing with a lump and all of the stress and anxiety that comes with it all. And I decided at that time, I'm going to remove it, have the reconstructive surgery. And at that time, I really felt like I wasn't whole. Like, I just wanted to feel feminine. I just wanted to feel like, because you met with a lot of sympathy too, like when people see your one breast when you're swimming, or if you have your prosthetic and stuff. I felt like it really affected my psyche. And I thought that this was important at the time. And so that journey has led me to really question, what is it to be feminine? And how much of it is society telling me what feminine is? And just really going down that path of embodying what I feel is beautiful feminine energy. And that has kind of led me down the path of poetry writing, and putting these books together and expressing it as well, because I feel like a lot of my art, you've seen it on Instagram, a lot of it is feminine, goddess energy, right? Yeah. And I feel like the journey is always kind of flowing and changing. I try to put my finger on what is it, and it's so expansive. That's why I like the new book that the new series I'm working on. faces of a goddess because it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It can't be defined as just one thing. And I love seeing all the different aspects of feminine energy. I feel like so much of it is subdued
Yeah.
in society,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the more that I dismantle the patriarchy from my own life, the more I read and explore
Mm-hmm.
things, the more expansive it becomes. And I feel it's so important to share that. There's, to be honest with you, it would be so easy for me to crawl under the blankets and not deal with these things. I find it very frightening, actually, because my world was so small when I was in that state of like
Mm-hmm.
severe depression, that anything that I do now that kind of opens up my world is frightening at
Yeah.
times. And I push myself to do it. Like even this, I was just like so nervous about it, right? All the things that I've been doing this year, I really pushed myself this year to start getting out there, and sharing the journey with people other than social media, because
Mm-hmm.
I was getting really caught up in the comfort of being on my phone, connecting with people, on Instagram or Facebook
Under
or
the
whatnot.
security
It's
of.
security, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been amazing in this last year of how, putting myself out there has just resulted in this beautiful flow of all of these different opportunities that keep coming my way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that's very feminine goddess energy too, is being open to those opportunities, being willing to receive those gifts that come along,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I have to always be really mindful about how much energy can I expend on things, what's in my best interest to go forward with, because
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, because I've stepped out there and I'm meeting so many people, a lot of people are like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's so important for me to quiet my world, connect with nature still, do my meditation, my yoga, always find that balance, and then kind of tune into my intuition of what is the right path for me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly. And you set up so many amazing topics. I can't wait to dive a little bit deeper into them. So, introspection, that, feeling of, that gut instinct, insight, your inner knowledge. These are all, spiritual and philosophic terms. And when you mentioned that you trusted your own, gut instinct when it came time to, removing the cancer, you trusted your gut in that. And it's coming together to me that your, transition and move into, a more holistic, you know, uh, feminine energy powered sort of, career and lifestyle, that is going back to trusting your gut about how you wanted to go into art and something impactful from way back when. So I think it's really amazing to see that even if we are on maybe not the path of the heart, it's never too late to turn that around. So I think that that is amazing, and I would love to dive deeper into what this, goddess sort of feeling is, what it is defined as. And I'd love to bring up, I have one of your pieces of artwork ready to pull up. So I'd love for you to, kind of give it to me straight. What does that mean to you? What should it mean to other women? And kind of tell me how it's present in your work.
For sure.
Let me just bring this up so everyone can take a gander.
Mm-hmm. Water goddess.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, take it
Yeah.
away.
That was actually one of my first goddess pieces. The very first one was actually Phoenix, fiery Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I was like, I wanted to explore the elements of goddess energy. So I did an earth goddess, water goddess, goddess of air, like cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and it was very beautiful, releasing energy for me. And for me, the divine and goddess energy is so connected to water
Mm-hmm.
and the flow of water. How strong water is in breaking things down and rebuilding, and how it's needed for nourishment and growth. And I always commune with the ocean. Like to me, being in nature, being around the ocean and water, it really does something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a sense of peace and awe and wonder and reverence, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was like a real surrendering and a sense of peace as well, of acceptance. Um, and it's interesting because with my paintings at the time, I was using a lot of water with my acrylics.
Mm-hmm.
So I was almost treating them somewhat like watercolor. So you'll kind of see that, yeah, there are a lot of shapes and patterns kind of emerge with the use of water. And I
Yeah, I
absolutely
can
love that.
totally tell.
Yeah, and I love you doing that. And then I see images and shapes that kind of emerge from that. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of intuitively guided by the lines and shapes that I see within the water. So I always like going back to that with my style as well. My styles have changed somewhat, but I always like going back to the water. And because I mean, even this thing that looks like it could be a seahorse,
Yep. On the
that
right.
was just that was just a puddle. That was water. That was just to me, oh, I will just kind of intuitively follow along with this and make something.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and when I do that, when I'm in that process of kind of just being guided by intuition, I do a lot of inner reflection in my paintings as well. It's kind of when I tune out the world, really, because I'm going inward. It's why the goddesses always, most of them have their eyes closed as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because for me, it's a very meditative state that I'm in, um, where, just the sound of the brush on the canvas and just the sense of peace that I feel. And I do a lot of thinking and introspection while I'm painting as well. Like, where am I going in my own journey? What have I learned so far? Just even daily interactions or whatnot. It just gives me a chance to really think and process all my emotions.
Yeah, and I think that it's so symbolic, and there's definitely some metaphors hidden in here that the piece is about the goddess energy of, bodies of water like the ocean, the tempest, the river. But that you've used water in its creation too. That's very, I feel like that's like mind expanding because it is so interwoven into not only the messaging behind, but in the creation of the piece too. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
I, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The
No,
Zoom
no,
lag, of course.
it's okay. You go ahead.
So I wanted to know, while we're on the topic of these, pieces about goddess energy, making that a part of your everyday life, did you have any of your haikus that you've done that have really captured this sort of energy?
Well, actually, this was a book of haiku that was the seasons, and this was with men and women
Mm-hmm.
together, and it was fantastic. I actually really love this book because I love haiku,
Yeah,
and it's
I can
all
already tell that it's totally Christmassy with the whole
the winter.
seasoning on the cover.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of got into this one. object of my desire was, really looking at love and desire. And I had done a lot of photography as well. That was like a visual prompt for us.
Mm-hmm.
And this was done with some amazing women that shared my love of poetry. And then these are the goddess ones. And I haven't done a goddess haiku book yet. And
Okay.
so you got me thinking, because I think that would actually be really amazing.
What are some elements you would definitely want to include if you are to, pursue this idea?
Well, I've already kind of thought about, where do I want to go with this series? And
Mm-hmm.
so the very first one that we had done was just to explore divine feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very soft, loving, gentle approach to, embracing our feminine side.
Mm-hmm.
Quite
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, well, this is part of one aspect of feminine energy. So then, the next one was, this was a huge project, actually. I could not have done this one without my friend Miriam Mahler, because she's in Germany. She does volunteer work for We Sparrow Poetry Press. And so this one, I kind of like felt like I bit off more than I could chew.
Yeah.
And this was huge. And and one person cannot do this alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so she was so awesome about helping me with, doing all the final edits for this, and it was really great. And I really like that it's visual, it's got art and poetry, but it's the other aspects too of feminine energy that's so subdued and so criticized by the patriarchy as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's, that side that we all have of our shadow side, or our, it's the bold confidence, the leadership, the
Mm-hmm.
sexy, it's embracing all of that. And it's sacred rage for how, our story has been rewritten. And there's so much that we as women intuitively know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, trying to strip away all that the stories that we've been fed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is very, very powerful. This is like the other side of, that strong feminine side. And that's the amazing thing about women too. And I feel like the against popular opinion, because I'm seeing this a lot on Instagram, is, embrace your feminine side so that you can receive your counterpart, and the masculine, right? And to me, that sometimes sounds the same
Mm-hmm.
as subduing a
Yeah.
strong feminine, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm very careful about the content that I come across, and questioning things and exploring, because I was starting to deconstruct religion from my
Yep.
life. And it kind of happened at the same time that I had my depression. So I didn't have that grounding, and my world kind of shook. But so much of what I grew up knowing um, of the divine has been from men,
Mm-hmm.
right? And from the patriarchy. And so I just keep stripping away. And I don't want to replace one thing with another at this
Yeah.
point. And people say
Just
to
for
me,
the
oh,
purpose of doing that. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I like exploring it. And some people are like, oh, well, you do goddesses. So do you do the archetypes of goddesses? And I don't even do that. I just really keep tapping into this beautiful, flowing energy that I feel. And that kind of guides me as
Mm-hmm.
to what feels goddess like, and that energy. Because if I stick to my creativity, if I stick to my intuitiveness, I feel like I'm always tapping into goddess energy,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And there are we keep coming back to many ancient Greek sorts of topics. Is there some political philosophy interwoven into some of these topics for you? Like even talking about Gaia, for one, Mother Earth. That is a complete feminine depiction of what a deity is, rather than, the classic, obviously, Jesus is a man. Typically, God is known, capital G, God is known to be a male figure of some
Mm-hmm.
sort, and that all of these representations that we have are from men. But the bases of Mother Gaia, that is totally one for the women.
Totally. And I feel like so much of history has been altered,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of stepping back to, even I try to educate myself, because even Halloween, I was like, oh, like even the history of like witches and blue and
Paganism,
all of
of
that,
course.
all
That's
of that. It was
pagan
just,
inspiration for so many holidays that
yeah, it
that
was
the Christians have
villainized,
adapted and stuff. Yeah.
right? Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was villainized. And so much nowadays is still, women are expected to be a certain way. And I want to break out of that. And I'm still a very spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think there's a lot of beauty in religion,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's a beautiful message. I just feel like there's such an imbalance in our world right now.
Yeah.
And that's the calling with Goddess, with putting this out there, is there's so much beauty and grace and healing with this energy if we just tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ideas I have for future ones, if I have the energy, or if it happens
If
that
the
I continue
stars
to,
align, yeah.
yes, exactly. If I continue to do this, one of them I want to explore too is rainbow warrior,
Yeah.
faces of a goddess, but without the gender
Mm-hmm.
roles, like just the beautiful energy that it is, because
Yeah.
energy does not have a gender to it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
No,
And
and it
so
can't be created or destroyed. It is, and it
it
bees,
is.
and it's present. Yeah.
Hmm. But it's always kind of, for me, it's been a journey of really tapping into, um I for the longest time I always thought, oh, I'm so masculine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a single mom doing everything on my own, laying flooring, doing whatever it is I'm doing,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And there's so much out there that says that that's masculine,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even with my hair, like that's another piece to all of this. Once I had the reconstruction done, I still wasn't feeling whole. I had gone through this whole turmoil, and it was not easy going through the reconstruction surgeries and all of that. Then I still didn't feel like things were enough, right? Then it was like, okay, I ended up getting, because I had my nipples had to be removed as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had Falcon Artistry. A shout out to them because it's so
Mm-hmm.
amazing. She does 3D tattooing.
Yeah.
And so I had that done. It was absolutely, it's just so real.
Yeah.
Hyper tattoo or whatever. And it's so cool. Um, but then it became about my scars, and then it's my weight, and it's my hair, and relying on, because I'm on Instagram, and then I start relying on filters, and just that, to me, here I am talking about being authentic and true, was not authentic at all.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with alopecia my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and I've spent so much money on vitamins and different things, and
Different
hair pieces,
salves, home
extensions,
treatments. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything, right? And this summer I went through, having a handful of hair fall out and just having a meltdown.
Yeah.
sobbing and just been like, the hell with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking a razor and, just being done with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was really worried at first, but then I was like, hey, wait a minute. Actually, my head is not as scary as I thought it would
Mm-hmm.
be. It's just a head,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very, very liberating and freeing for me, because it was like all of that shame, all of that trying, all of that I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely done with all of it.
Yeah.
And I constantly remind myself
Yeah.
of, this, I'm okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
healthy. I'm healing. I I think it looks great.
I think you look amazing.
Thank you. Right? It's interesting. I'm met with different reactions from so many people. In the art community, it's like nobody even really bats an eye, because in the art community, you can express yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went to an art function where I saw several other women who had shaved heads. I was like, okay, this is cool. So maybe I am rocking it.
Yeah.
And but then in the suburbs going to yoga, I'm met with, oh, is your cancer back?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Right. And so everyone kind of has different reactions when they
Yeah.
see a woman with shaved head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And some are just very curious, but
Yeah. Exactly. And, even discussing, you know, to be bald or not to be bald,
mhm.
we're talking about aspects of vulnerability, societal expectations, standardized norms, what is expected of a woman, how we're expected to look, act, how we behave, how we engage. Everything is so astringent according to our system. And I think it is, so ridiculous that something as vast as beauty and confidence can be thrown into a couple buzzwords and categories when it's such a vast and subjective sort of thing.
Absolutely. And I
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like the more that I really examine how the patriarchy formed my own beliefs and what beauty standards are, the more I strip that away, the more I'm in awe of people that are just doing their thing and
Mm-hmm.
aren't as trying to fit that category. I think,
Mm-hmm.
wow, look at you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That are
And I think
confident
it's
in
good.
their own. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And yeah, people say to me, "Oh, well, you're so confident to do this," but I think there's a difference in, to me, with self-acceptance,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
self-love, self-acceptance. I mean, at the time when I was like, I wish I had hair,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but that's not me. And I love this too. I love not fussing with hair pieces. I love just yeah. If somebody rang the doorbell, I used to actually run in the opposite direction to try to like fix things, and I always felt conscious, like, oh, somebody's, you know,
What if
can
someone
see.
finds out that I have no hair? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was awful, and now I think, my gosh, like,
It's got to be freeing, doesn't it?
it's so freeing. It's
Mm-hmm.
so freeing. I love
Mm-hmm.
it so much. I gotta never have a bad hair day.
No, you're always spick and span. You can oil it up, shine all the way. And there's so many bald icons, but they're never normalizing the bald icons that are women. Look at Pitbull, Vin Diesel, The Rock. We've got a bunch of bald
Yeah,
male icons, but that's not just something that's just for men. We're born, well, for the most part, everyone's born bald. So yeah, I know. Also, shout out to Cynthia Erivo. She's playing Alphaba in the new Wicked. She's always rocking the bald too, and like I can't even
yeah.
I can't even imagine her having hair like that. That looks her natural form,
So beautiful. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I was wondering, since a lot of these depictions in your work go far beyond just you know a representation of you, but also representation of femininity and all these amazing things that we've talked about. So many of them do have hair. Is there any sort of,
Yes.
connection there?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them, yeah, this big, beautiful,
Maine.
wild, yes,
Hmm.
wild, right?
Hmm.
And expansive. And I think so much, there's so much beauty in hair, and there's so
Hmm.
much story and memory in hair as well. And so I like celebrating that with women. I think women are amazing, and I love beautiful hair as well. And so I like showing that as goddess feminine energy. But I really stepped back because I was like, oh, this is my inner wound speaking as well,
Hmm.
because all of my goddesses have breasts and big, beautiful hair.
Yeah.
And these are the two aspects that I
Have struggled
personally
with.
struggled
Hmm.
with, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think I'm thinking about how do I redefine and show other aspects of feminine energy as well. And so, where is it? Oh, hang on a second. So this was a recent. I did this one actually for the Outsider Arts Festival.
Oh, this is gorgeous. Let me put it in my house.
Thank you. This one I kind of wanted to show where I was at the time of the art show was feeling like my feet are in two separate worlds,
Hmm.
right? I'm living in a society that's high tech and patriarchy, and she's got the hair on that side as well, right?
Yep.
And this is me just freeing myself of
Hmm.
just realizing that it's I have this duality within me. It's I have, if you want to call it masculine and feminine energy, it's just this sense of harmony
Yeah.
that I have, right? um and it's how do I live in a world that has that.
Yeah. Where you're in two different, when you're in two different poles sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I always just and I really like that, trying to show that beauty of
Hmm.
feminine energy does not have to um follow that.
Yeah.
I
What
was
an
watching a
amazing piece.
Yeah, I was watching a TikTok actually where these guys were talking about how they they were attracted to hair,
Yeah.
not the woman,
To
nothing
their
else,
hair.
just the hair alone.
Hmm.
And it's we're so dissected in so many ways, right? And we're so objectified, and I think that that's why when I do goddesses as well, for me personally, there's nudity, but I also want to show the face because
Yeah.
I want because the goddess is in tune with her sensuality and
Hmm.
sexuality, but she's also at peace.
Hmm.
And I want to show all of her. And I think that I hear that a lot, even when I read poetry and whatnot, is, women speak about wanting to be seen,
Hmm.
wanting to feel whole,
Hmm.
um, and accepted, right?
Yeah.
So I think, when I get back into, I've taken a little break with painting goddesses. I started doing honeybees,
Yeah.
or something different. And I think when I go back to exploring it, it will be aspects that make feminine energy without the wounds
Hmm.
attached to it. And it'll be interesting to see because I feel like I'm constantly in a flow of healing and learning.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that. And while we're on the topic of, next steps, I see that you have a canvas right next to you. What are your plans with what you're doing with this piece?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, somebody really liked the bees that I've been
Mhm.
doing. So I thought if we had time or if anyone was interested, I kind of quickly put this together. Um, and we can paint a bee together if you want.
Okay, I would love to be part of this.
I think it's so, even if you feel like, oh, I can't paint and I'm not artistic, I think it's so important to tap into our creative side.
Mm.
And even if it can be so many different things, it can be baking or gardening or
Hmm.
music, like just tapping into our creative element.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
getting your hands into something and, getting our own chance to be part of the creation process. Totally.
totally. Yeah. And you kind of have to start somewhere. And I feel
Hmm.
like, you know, I'm self-taught, and sometimes my inner voice will start criticizing,
Hmm.
and I'll do the whole imposter syndrome, like what the heck am I doing? Like
Yeah.
I don't have the skill. And it's one thing I always remind myself is that, okay, I've got the creativity behind me, because so many people are like, how did you even come up with that concept? How did you do that? And I know that I've got the creative side going for me, which is good.
Hmm.
And that
Yeah.
is always wanting to come out. I just want to create. Even when I'm like, okay, I need a break now from all of this, still turn
Yeah,
around and
I'll
start
get into
thinking.
something for just for fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. So I'm excited to see kind of how you do this. And while, Kim is taking us through this process, I would love to open the floor to anyone in the audience who might have some questions while we're kind of, working our way through this.
It's kind of hard for you to see. I'm going to fix my easel.
Okay, perfect. So while you're working on that, I've got prepared a very great question that I would like to ask you.
Yeah.
This was prepared by another one of my amazing team members, and I just had to incorporate it today. So, we believe throughout your journey, you have experienced so much from the highs to the lows, and all among these experiences. Is there any moments or individuals that still make you feel deeply touched and warm when you think about them today that have, kind of stuck around in your life?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I've met so many people, and right from the get-go, actually, when I first struggled, I had some really dear friends to me I have a ladies book club, and there were a couple of people from my church as well, and there were, I reached out to some close friends who were absolutely amazing, and there's a lot to list of all the people that helped, but it's all, a lot have been women
Mm-hmm.
who have helped me and been very nurturing. And I've developed some really great friendships as well on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alta for taking a chance on me. That was, I'm forever grateful for her as well. And Miriam for helping with the, edits as well. And um, yeah, my family, I'm so thankful for. Yeah,
That's
I
a
have a
great
lot.
place to start.
I have a lot of friends. I'm very blessed actually. And even at yoga, and at the gym, I'm constantly coming in contact with so many people that just warm my heart. They say that you attract what you give. And I'm very thankful that through this journey, I've met some really incredible people. All of the people that have helped me with my books as well, that the writers, the artists, so many people have helped me explore um, my writing, my feminine energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm totally with you on that. And connection is so important. And I think that that is something that is even clear to see through the act of, creating something beautiful. You're connecting with, your experience, you're pouring that into your process. And I think that that act of connecting and, you know, looking deeper, looking for deeper meaning
Hmm.
is so impactful.
I think it's so important too in our journey to have friends who are kind of going through that healing journey themselves, that spiritual awakening, um, that really get us and understand us
Mm-hmm.
kind of where we're going through on our path.
Mm-hmm.
And so my best friend Michaela, she was the one that would phone me when I was head under the covers, not wanting to move or do anything, right? Or my mom used to check up on me all the time as well. Um, but yeah, bouncing things off of people who are kind of on that spiritual path
Mm-hmm.
is pretty amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's really great that we're having this conversation today because that's exactly a testament to what we're talking about, how important it is to, be involved, to, reach out, to connect, to get deeper. So I would love to, relay a couple of these questions that we received from our members in the chat. So, what do you think is the most memorable piece of feedback that you've received from someone that was inspired by your story or your art?
Feedback as to, oh, sorry, read it again. Sorry.
What is something that someone who's been inspired by your story or your art that has stuck around? Something that is like a testament to why you're doing what you're doing and how it impacts people. What is a instance or
Mm-hmm.
example of that?
When I actually shaved my head recently too, I actually got flooded with
Mm-hmm.
messages on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. It resonating so much with so many women, um, and I, those messages always push me to continue to be authentic and do what I'm doing. I find that it's so much reassurance for me. Um, it's all of the moments of I've received so much feedback. Like if you saw my Instagram, like it's absolutely amazing. The community that's there and all of the positive feedback that I get. That's what really keeps me going a lot because
Yeah.
it can be very lonely journey actually. And a lot of questions like, what am I doing? And uh, I'm always so grateful for the friends
Mm-hmm.
that are on there that, take the time
Yep.
to just praise my work or give positive feedback. Um, and I don't think it's making me delulu, like I it's like, oh, she's so great. She should just keep going. No, like I feel like the comments really help me reflect on the impact that it is having. And I'm so grateful.
Shout
Yeah.
out to everybody that's active in other people's chat boxes. I know some people use the term like keyboard warrior, but not the entire community of people that do comment on others' posts. It's not all the haters. I know that's what you can get stuck on often. That's
Mm-hmm.
we kept coming back to this, expectations and how people's expectations can hurt us, especially if we're struggling with self-love. But there is so much goodness out there.
There is. I haven't received any negative comments, to be honest with you. Like I'm always met with so much care and support and grace, and it's always amazing. And all the experiences that I go through, even the one with when I did the live painting at Pancakes and Booze art show.
Okay, sounds
You
like my
know,
kind of place.
that really was out of my comfort zone because I was like, okay, I'm going to do a lot of painting, and it was so packed there. And here I was amongst all of these amazing artists, and I'm doing my little painting in the corner, and it was so crowded, and I was getting like bumped and banged, and I was just something about painting always gives me a sense of peace. So I was just kind of in my own little bubble, in my own world. Um, and I could have been more social, but at the time I just felt like I just need to ground myself. And it was awesome to hear the positive feedback from other artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Ooh, okay, thank you." And that just kind of like reaffirms, okay, I can do this, right? And I should try more experiences.
Mm-hmm. And while we're on the topic of, working with other individuals, I remember during our first conversation, you mentioned a project where you got to collaborate with a bunch of people. I know that's kind of what you do with a lot of your books, but we had a member in the chat ask if you collaborate with other artists or healers, and what have those experiences taught you?
Oh my goodness, yes. It's been just so there's so much has happened in this last year. It's actually crazy. I'm really sorry that I'm probably missing a lot of people in this, and I even had the experience of doing healing haiku with Suzanne Hunter and Louisa Hintz, and they so she does sound healing therapy, and Suzanne is a Reiki um, uh, Reiki master, I think. And the three of us did a very healing workshop that was actually really beautiful. We did it at the Pacific Art Market. It was where I first set up my art. Um, and we did, Suzanne did the Reiki, and we had the beautiful ham pan music happening. I shared a bit of my journey. We did healing haikus together. And it was really wonderful, actually. Um, and I'm open to having these experiences as well in the future of collaborating. I'm looking at actually collaborating coming up. I've got a few applications in, so we'll see how things go for 2025.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoy those collaboration efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And actually one of my new friends, Darnuche, she's that's her artist name. She's in actually one of the recent book, Dark Feminine Rising.
Mm-hmm.
The two of us have actually talked about teaming up to do like an art battle together where we collaborate,
Mm-hmm.
and with a kind of a live painting with
Mm-hmm.
an audience and a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And these things are so scary for me, but exciting at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
I like saying yes to those experiences.
Yeah, you gotta take them as they come, and hopefully you'll know with your you know, inner knowledge which opportunities are the ones you want to, make the most of, and ones you want to let flow by. While we're in our last couple minutes here, I want to ask you one more question from the audience, and then we'll have a little final wrap up little moment. But one of our members in the chat asked, what are practical steps that you take to manage stress in your everyday life?
Mm-hmm. I think even just the very simple stepping outside and connecting with nature is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather isn't the greatest here, but just making an effort every day to commune in some way with nature. If there's a park nearby, or getting to a path or the ocean or anything that you can access in nature. And for me personally, yoga has been so important in my healing journey. And I went through that whole I'm going to do all of these challenging poses and push myself really hard and injure myself.
Yeah.
And that's not good either. And that's not the purpose of yoga, right? And just sitting on my mat. Every morning I burn incense as well, and breathe in that, I just kind of cleanse my aura.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I make sure to have meditation on my
Mm-hmm.
yoga mat and check in with myself. I think the creative elements as well help me to release emotions that I can't verbalize.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think there's a lot that's probably trapped in our body
Oh,
that we need to release.
100%.
Yes.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's so important to do that work of releasing. Dance is going to be a new thing for me too,
Yeah.
because a few friends are like, hey, let's try some drop-in dance groups, and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see more about that because I don't know if I told you when we originally met, I have a long background in dance, and that's always been one of my favorite ways
Oh,
to.
really?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So if you're ever looking to chat about that more, you're always free to hit my line. But yeah, movement is so good to release things that are in our bodies, and like you said, you're able to portray emotions that you can't just verbalize. They're deeper. They don't have words that match
Absolutely.
what they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Somatic work. It's so
Hmm.
important, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it's very important. I don't
Hmm.
know if that help,
I
but
think that was
yeah.
a perfect answer. All right, now that we've come to the time where, we're trying to bring our strings together, what are some final words that you would like to leave our audience with today that you don't think were fully hashed out?
Hmm. Um, I think our world is a busy world.
Mm-hmm.
We put in our earbuds or whatever, and we listen to music, and we go, 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 and we hit the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important to silence and have solitude. I don't think I would have been able to be where I am in my healing if I had not taken that time to go inward. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that that's the part of being in nature. Like I am always called to hike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing the mountains right now because something about that is just so magical.
Yeah,
And it really
totally.
helps me silence all of the things that I tell myself too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just help me go inward. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, 100%. That introspection piece, that's
Yeah.
definitely something like you have. I don't know if anyone else believes in past lives, reincarnation, whatever, but we mentioned, that energy is eternal and you are born with that insight. All you have to do is search inside yourself, and the answer is going to be there. You already know things that you don't need to be told. So I definitely think that that is such an important part of life and understanding oneself that everyone should engage in. And you're right about the mountains. I live in Calgary, and we're right next to them, and they are magical.
Mhm.
They're these massive. Apparently, they're when the tectonic plates over time they bump up, but it's just like, how is this? How's this real? How's this massive
Yeah,
thing real? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
And
That's another
a
metaphor.
final shout out to my two kids as well. I want to just say how important it is for all of us to, and I really like your site. I really like what you do because we should be making friends with people that are of different age groups.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. And I think that
Hmm.
that's so important. And that's it. I have friends that are all different ages. And I love hanging out with my teens
Hmm.
too, because they're constantly teaching me so much.
Hmm. I know that means the most to our team here at LC. We didn't even really focus on the intergenerational aspects, but you're
Yeah.
right. The aspect of engaging in these conversations with people from different experiences and walks of life includes people of different age groups. So thank you so much for,
Mhm.
bringing that point up. And yeah, shout out to your kids and shout out to everybody who was mentioned in this episode today. You're fighting that daily fight, and we appreciate everybody who's trying to make the world a safer, more comfortable place for more people, especially women.
Mhm.
Here we go.
Yeah. I feel like we need a part two. Like I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like, will I be able to say anything during this time? I'm like, we've got so much to say, and
That's what
so
I
much has
was
happened,
saying,
and
right?
there's so many people that I just love and adore, and have helped me, and yeah,
Yeah, so maybe that's maybe we can talk afterwards after we come off the live and see what possibilities there are for potentially turning this into a series. So yeah, I hope that everybody in the chat had, you know, as an amazing time as I did today chatting with you, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us, and the biggest shout out to you, Kim. I think these topics we went beyond just one are so important, and I think it's very eye-opening to make the uncomfortable comfortable, step outside, do these sorts of things. So thank you everybody for being part of our conversation today, and I hope to catch you all in the next one. All
thank
right.
you so much. I really appreciated this.
Of course. Ciao for now, audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.